discovered it last night. It's mixed right now. We have one item from 1830 to 1840. I haven't looked at the window glass yet. Of course, the window glass would have been used for a long time. But it's kind of mixed deposits so far. And we'll just have to see what happens. And we never know until we finish digging the unit what we're going to have. The window glass looks pretty thin, and I hope to be able to use it to date the addition, because we don't have a good date for the addition to the south of the cabin. My feeling is it's probably late 1820s to into the 1830s, somewhere in that range, but feelings aren't as good as physical evidence. The window glass gets thicker through time at a predictable rate, and so we measure the thickness of the glass, and we multiply that times the number of sherds and fit it into a formula, and that kicks out the date. This was close enough on the frontier that they're not recycling glass, and the early glass here would have been shipped in probably new, and there's no reason to believe that they were recycling anything into these buildings. Quite often, if they're recycling, you'll see logs that have marks on them that don't fit the cabin, for example. You'll see windows that are different sizes and different numbers of panes of glass. There are ways you can tell. Pulling windows out of another cabin, say, they may just get whatever they can get. So if things don't match up very well, you know that it's built from recycled material. This cabin was not built at all from recycled material, the best I can tell.
Okay.
So we're dealing with probabilities. I did the same thing with chieftains and ended up with a date for the trading post that was a glove fit for an historical date that I was able to find. And the technique worked beautifully there. There's no reason to think it wouldn't work here. Most of the stuff early comes through Augusta and wagons. The federal road was finished up into the Cherokee Nation in 1812, and there were roads prior to that time, but federal road made it easier. So, they were bringing things in over other roads. But once the federal road comes in, there's a good flow of material, mainly from the Augusta factories, up into the area. They went through a process of what's called acculturation, and they adopted many aspects of the Euro-American culture, including the log cabin, which was originally Swedish and came in the mid-Atlantic. Log cabins are easy. You can go out on your own property, cut down the trees, hew the logs, and you have your building material right there. You don't have to build a pit saw with all of the technology that goes with that and rip out boards and do the rest. So it's an easy technique to use. It's very effective, and the Cherokees jumped all over it early on. They were using cabins back in the 18th century, and they were very quick again to adopt successful ways of the people they saw around them. There are a lot of similarities, but if you look at the way the logs join, the joints are fairly poorly made. And I made the case that, along with the early window glass date, that the poor joinery of the joints suggested that it was an early cabin. Later on, as time goes on, they get better and better at it. But the joinery here is a bit crude. They'd have to bring some more material in, but it can be restored, yes. There's no question about that. I've seen buildings in much worse shape that were restored successfully.